All right, let's just jump right into it because the latest Euphoria episode gave us the one thing we've all been waiting for and dreading: Cassie at Need's wedding. And let me tell you, this was not your average ceremony. It was a full-on, glitter-soaked disaster, an absolute masterclass in chaos that's gonna have some serious consequences.
I mean, Mashable absolutely nailed it with this comparison. Now, if you know anything about TV, you know the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones is like the gold standard for shocking, brutal television. So when you hear that, you know this is way more than just a cake cutting gone wrong. This is about a perfect fantasy built to completely and utterly implode.
Okay, so let's break down how this whole thing was set up. The wedding itself is designed to be Cassie's ultimate dream come true. Just polished and perfect. But this is Euphoria. So every single beautiful detail is just dripping with tension, and every choice is a flashing red warning sign. And the fashion? Ugh, the fashion tells a story all on its own. So first up, you've got Cassie in this custom wider hoofed gown. It's got this super structured corset, a dramatic neckline, and that thigh-high slit. It's basically a perfect mirror of who she is now. Totally controlled, almost like armor on the surface, but with all this intensity just dying to burst out. It's not really a dress, it's a shield for all her insecurity. She is trying so hard to build this perfect, unbreakable image of herself. And then Maddie walks in, and of course, she shows up in what fans immediately started calling a revenge dress. This slinky green gown. It's not about being a polite wedding guest. No, it's about standing out and making a point. This isn't just Maddie looking good. This is a pure power move. She knows exactly the chaos she's causing, and she is weaponizing it. And Jules is going to show up and push every single boundary, right? She's wearing this piece straight from the Acne Studios runway, the so-called naked dress with these sheer panels and an almost ghost-like feel. Is it a bold choice for someone's wedding? Yeah. But for Jules, this is just who she is. It's completely in line with her whole philosophy of using fashion as this raw, unfiltered form of self-expression. So while everyone else is playing dress-up for this high-stakes drama, Rue, she just stays Rue. She's in this oversized blue suit from Bugessa, layered over a patterned shirt. It's this whole relaxed menswear vibe that the costume designers are calling her business mule aesthetic. It just goes to show you she's operating in a completely different and much more real world than everyone else. And the soundtrack? Oh my God, this soundtrack just brilliantly drives home all that tension. The wedding band is playing Get Low by Lil Jon, turning what's supposed to be this sacred event into a frat party. Then they play Elvis's She Wears My Ring, a song that's all about possession, which feels incredibly creepy and unstable for these two. But the best one, Foreigner's I Want to Know What Love Is. I mean, talk about a tragic, on-the-nose question for a couple who has no idea what love is, confusing it entirely with obsession. But look, all of this, the clothes, the music, it was all just window dressing. It was never going to last. Because in the world of Euphoria, that perfect fantasy is always, always built to crumble. And when reality decides to crash the party, it hits a lot harder than fiction. And the scale of this fantasy was just mind-boggling. Get this, $50,000. That was how much they spent on the flower arrangements alone. This whole wedding was basically a monument to Cassie's desperation to prove she's happy. But the whole thing was built on a financial house of cards. And just like that, the bill comes due. Nate's loan shark, Nas, says this line to Cassie, and it is just a chillingly perfect summary of what her new life actually is. She thought she was marrying into this fairy tale, but nope, she inherited Nate's massive debt and all the danger that comes right along with it. And the whole thing just collapses with this brutal, breathtaking speed. First, Nas crashes the reception and publicly shames Nate about his debt in front of everyone. In all the chaos, Cassie just spirals, accidentally popping a champagne cork right into Nate's eye. But the real horror? That starts when they get home. They're ambushed. Nate gets dragged away and is just viciously beaten. The dream literally becomes a nightmare in just a few hours. And it all comes down to this violent, unforgettable moment. To settle the score, Nas's associate chops off Nate's pinky toe right in front of Cassie. It's so calculated and so brutal. The financial debt gets paid with a physical one. And Cassie is forced to see the ugly, violent reality of the world she just signed up for. But while all of that wedding madness is exploding, we can't forget that there's a parallel and, you could argue, way more dangerous story happening at the exact same time. So yeah, while Cassie's fantasy world was completely imploding, Rue was spiraling deeper and deeper into the world of organized crime. And what's so fascinating here is that she's not just a passive bystander anymore. She is an active player in a game where the stakes are life and death. I mean, just look at this progression. She goes from an accomplice to a prime target. Rue starts off impressing her boss, Alamo, by selling illegal guns. He then gives her a mission against his rival, Lori, which results in Alamo's crew killing Lori's pet cockadoo. It seems small, but in a gang war, that's a huge declaration. And the final step on this path? On her drive home, she gets pulled over. Not by some local cop, but by the DEA. She is officially on the federal radar and in way, way over her head. So, with the wedding in total shambles and Rue in federal custody, where could we possibly go from here? Well, the trailer for the next episode gives us a little taste of the immediate, chaotic fallout for both of them. And this is where we see their paths to survival just split into completely different directions. Cassie, desperate to pay off Nate's debt, does what she always does. She retreats back into a fantasy. She creates this new influencer character with a blonde wig and a leather jumpsuit, trying to make money online. Meanwhile, Rue is facing the harshest reality you can imagine. She's being questioned by federal agents who are pushing her hard to snitch on Alamo. But even in this terrifying situation, you cannot break Rue's spirit. When the DEA agents try to trip her up with a lie, she just fires right back with this. It shows you her defiance, her sharp wit, and that core part of Rue that just refuses to be a victim, even when the walls are closing in all around her. And the threats are just converging on her from every single angle. The trailer shows Alamo warning her, basically saying he thinks she's a rat. We see Lori mourning her pet, which is a very clear signal that violent revenge is coming. And the whole teaser ends with a police countdown and a gun pointed right at Rue. She is completely 100% trapped in the crosshairs. So that leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? After a wedding that ended in bloodshed and an arrest that could kick off a full-blown gang war, the fantasy is well and truly shattered for everybody. The only question now is who, if anyone, has what it takes to actually survive all this fallout. We are just going to have to wait.